In the first chapter of my newest book, Let Colleges Fail, The Power of Creative Destruction in Higher Education, I list 10 problems with American universities. First, as already indicated, enrollment's decline has occurred for the first prolonged period in American history. Secondly, critically important public support and confidence in higher education is very low, imperiling a sector that cannot financially exist solely from the tuition fees paid by students or from research grants or endowments. Third, unpopular ideas are often suppressed and ignored. A vibrant university is a learning community filled with civil but vigorous debate, airing alternative perspectives on the issues of the day. And related to that is a fourth problem. Intellectual diversity has been declining on American campuses. On most campuses, far left or progressive perspectives dominate the faculty who instruct the students and advance the research agenda. I once met an Ivy League Republican sociologist, and I was so startled that I asked him for his autograph. One recent study showed that there are no Republican faculty in the Yale University History Department, which has over 50 faculty members. 0 Republicans. Fifth, the cost of college is high, both for the consumers and the broader public. Per student spending in the U.S. is far higher than in other comparable industrial democracies like neighboring Canada or Great Britain or Japan. 6, although far from conclusive, some reliable evidence suggests that typically students do not learn terribly much over usually a 4 or 5 year period in college. Too often, recent college graduates are embarrassingly similar to newly minted high school grads in their general knowledge, vital critical reasoning skills, or sometimes even in the specialized training needing to excel in a lifetime in the world of work. They are shockingly ignorant of our glorious political, intellectual, artistic, and entrepreneurial heritage dating back to ancient times. 7th, colleges are overwhelmed by administrative bloat. Persons ostensibly supporting the mainline academic activities, but instead often crowding out emphasis on what should be the primary function of colleges, the creation and dissemination of truth and beauty. What Keats, 2 centuries ago, poetically described so well in his Ode on a Grecian Urn. Johns Hopkins political scientist Ben Ginsberg accurately says we have all administrative universities these days crowding out emphasis on job one, the academic function. 8, even as our competitive market-based free enterprise system has propelled Americans to new levels of affluence, access to first-rate collegiate education has seemingly stagnated, maybe in some cases even reversed, for Americans with lower incomes, probably stifling higher education's role in facilitating the American dream. Probably this mostly reflects general public policy errors, including deficiencies in our secondary education system and a disastrous approach to public assistance for the poor, more than collegiate misdeeds, but it's still inconsistent with college availability for all, an attitude that's widely prevalent in our society. 9th, even in a narrow financial sense, the typical rate of return on investment in higher education has probably declined somewhat in recent times. At the very least, there's a growing recognition that going to college today is often a rather risky financial commitment. For example, over 1/3 of entering freshmen have not earned a bachelor's degree after 6 years. Another 1/3 or more of recent graduates are for a period of time what the Federal Reserve Bank of New York calls underemployed, working low-paying, unskilled jobs, usually held by those with only a high school education. Baristas at Starbucks. Have nothing against Starbucks. 10th, colleges are simply awful at efficiently using the human and physical resources that they possess. Buildings lie empty many months a year. Faculty write papers for some journal of last resort that few read or cite. And kids typically take 4 or even 5 years to finish a degree that highly renowned universities like Oxford and Cambridge say routinely should be completed in under 3 years. Now, this list is not exhaustive. Someone would talk about the millions that schools spend annually on ball throwing contests, having nothing to do with learning. Others might stress more specific concerns, like, why does it take 7 years after high school schooling to practice law in America when you can do that in half that time in Great Britain? Why?